Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, I'm better. I can hear things now. Yay.
Four, five, six, seven. Kirsten, how many are we waiting for? I know that I believe you had said that Senator Kissel was not going to be able to make it today. Is there anyone else who's not going to be able to make it?
Kissel's the only one that I heard from, and so right now I've got to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So the only two that we don't have here are Senator Hartley and Senator Kelly. Senator Hartley said she was coming. I don't know about Senator Kelly.
I think Senator Kelly may have an issue, conflict.
Okay.
Okay, I just sent Senator Hartley a text, so maybe wait 1 minute and then get started. Okay. I do believe Senator Hartley is going to join us. So, but I think in the interest of everyone's time, let's get started. So good morning, 9:33 a.m. Call this meeting of the Regulations Review Committee to order. Representative Clara DeStitria, do you have any remarks?
No, I'm all set. Let's get this going.
Okay. Great. With that, let's get this going. So the first item, 2021-002, Department of Consumer Protection's new medical marijuana conditions recommended on August 14, 2020. The LCO recommendation is approval in whole. I would entertain a motion to approve these regulations in whole.
I will
So
make
moved.
that motion. Senator Austin makes the motion to approve.
So moved by Senator Austin. Is there a second?
Representative Carpino seconds.
Second by Representative Carpino. Is there any discussion? Okay, and hearing none. All those in favor, actually, if you prepare yourself, I believe Tam's on for the vote. And all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the motion carries.
Excuse me, Senator, just to let you know, Senator Hartley is present.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, 2021-003, the Department of Motor Vehicles, electronic application for registration of certificate or of title. The LCO recommendation is approval in whole with technical corrections. I would entertain a motion to approve these regulations in whole with technical corrections in accordance with the LCO recommendation.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Representative Godfrey.
Moved by Representative
Second.
Godfrey. Is there a second?
Second, Representative Damas, seconds.
Second by Representative Damassa. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in, well, please prepare yourself to vote. Have your camera on and unmute yourself. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed and abstentions. Okay. The next is a resubmittal 2019-016A. It's a resubmittal from the Department of Consumer Protection and Lottery Operations. The LCO recommendation is approval in whole with technical corrections. I know there's going to be some discussion, but I'll just entertain a motion to approve in whole with technical corrections.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so it was moved by Senator Hartley, and who got in there first on the second? It sounded like Representative Ritigliano.
I'm happy to defer to Senator Austin, Representative.
Okay, so Senator Austin seconded. With that, I do believe we have representatives from DCP on who may be able to answer some questions. I know that I, as well as other members of the committee, did receive a letter with some concerns from the lottery yesterday. So I just wanted to see if we could address those with, I'm not sure, Commissioner Siegel, will you be speaking? And so I know, the three concerns, the one was in regards to the biennial audits. The second was on a time frame that these regulations removed a time frame for approval of new games. It had been 7 days in the past, and we've seen why you had felt that wasn't long enough, but then there is no longer a time frame. So, and then the third was in regards to the fact that there will be an expansion of a proposed expansion of gaming, so you will have to come forward with new regulations. I think that that's pretty much understood for everything we do, that we know there's going to be new laws and we're going to have to do new regulations. But I actually see that as an opportunity to hopefully address the other two concerns. So if you could speak, I guess, about the concern for the not having a deadline, and if it would be possible when we did the new regulations to put in a 30-day deadline.
Yeah, happy to talk about that. The reason we took it out is it's just generally DCP's regulations, we don't regulate ourselves. So there's no deadline for us to look at a liquor permit, a pharmacy permit, anything else. We pride ourselves, we're constantly improving our process, streamlining, doing things faster. So this was certainly not intended to mean we would delay things. And certainly if there was revenue, we know CLC would go to the governor's office and tell us, to make sure we were doing our job. That being said, we can certainly revisit and put something in. we certainly do expect we'll be updating these regs again, especially if gaming is expanded.
Okay, and, we understand that the practice, and we, trust that you'll get things done in a timely manner. I think just as a legislature, we like to codify because we know that things change over time. And so I think I think it would give people more security knowing that there was a deadline of some sort put in the regulations. So we do appreciate you working with the lottery, and when you come with the revised regulations, hopefully including that deadline. Are there any other questions for the commissioner or comments? Senator Minor, and then Representative Clarity.
So first, Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure if the raised hand feature, who sees that and who doesn't, but I did click it on. I would very much like, I guess, an explanation for why regulations rejected in, I guess it was July of 2019, took this long to get back to us.
Part of it, we probably need to do a mea culpa. I think, there were a lot of changes to be made, so we were working on those. And then when the kind of pandemic hit, truthfully, these probably moved further down the list of things, but we did want to get them in.
So through you, Mr. Chairman, so I appreciate you saying that you wanted to get them in, but my question is, was it caused because of a delay in communication between CLC and DCP, or I don't remember exactly how many regs packages have come from DCP in the last year and a half, but I suspect there may have been some.
No, it wasn't because of anything CLC did. We ended up, we just had a lot going on, and then the pandemic hit, and these we should have moved them faster, and unfortunately didn't.
So that's really, I guess, my concern, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Commissioner. That's my concern. I was trying to roll my my memory back last evening as to how CLC ended up in DCP, and I remember that there was some concern about how CLC was functioning, and so legislatively, I think we were attempting, as I recall, to try and find a place to ensure that things would be done in an orderly fashion. And I understand COVID has been difficult for all of us, not the least of which have been some state agencies that have had to work remotely. Certainly LCOs had to work remotely. Every agency's worked remotely. But some of the things that are pointed out in the letter from CLC with regard to timelines really do cause me to struggle with voting affirmatively on this motion. In fact, I would have preferred if there was a motion to reject without prejudice and try and really dig into whether there was a give and take over a period of a year and a half, and it just wasn't possible for the Department of Consumer Protection to come up with a regs package that met all the concerns laid out in the rejection without prejudice initially in July. So there are some points in the letter that I think need to be addressed, not the least of which is we've got some legislation before us which is going to dramatically change the regs themselves and our need for new regs. Let me ask this. What's the likelihood that we would not have a 6-month delay in a new regs package going forward for the lottery corp? Through you, Mr. Chairman.
So no, normally we would be faster. I mean, it wasn't just that these sat idle. We were working with LRRC leadership and LCO through a lot of these times as well. So it's not as though nothing was happening. So there was a lot of back and forth there. We did issue our decision to CLC and didn't hear until the letter we were sent a copy of yesterday afternoon from them on these regulations. So it wasn't because of a DCP CLC issue. We were addressing kind of the issues that were brought up when these first came that led to them being rejected. And then we were working with leadership to fix a number and clarify a number of other issues. And so that took some time as well.
So through you, Mr. Chairman, so when you say you worked with LRRC leadership, was that after January 1st or was that during my tenure as co-chair?
Let me check. It was through my legislative director, Leslie O'Brien, who's on, so she can maybe speak to the back and forth that
Hi,
went on.
sorry, I'm here. We worked with the leadership while you were co-chair, Senator. We had a meeting. I can't remember if you were there, but I know that other members of LRRC were there along with staff from LCO so that we could, based on the rejection without prejudice in 2019, try to figure out how to make sure that the language worked for everyone. And so we had a pretty lengthy meeting and then revised the regulations in the fall of 2019 and sent a memo, as was requested by the group we were working with in the meeting, to respond to some questions that had been raised about how the operations worked, just sort of factual information that we submitted back to the group in a memo, along with the revised language based on the meeting. And so that was done at the end of 2019. And then, we were waiting to resubmit. We were going to resubmit, and then it did get backburnered with all of the COVID situation and the beginning of in the last session. So, but that was what we did spend a good chunk of time in 2019 working on this and communicating with LRRC and also LCO to try to make sure that all the concerns that had been raised were addressed. And then, as the commissioner noted, we responded to lottery's concerns that had been raised in the 30-day public comment period before that. And we did respond to them and didn't hear anything back until yesterday when they sent the letter to you all.
Thank you both. And I'll just, I think there's some other hands raised, so I'll see what the will of others. Thank you both.
Thank you, Senator Minor, and thanks for your insight and your diligence in this process. So Representative Claritas Ditria, followed by Representative Ritigliano.
Thank you. My concerns just come from the LCO for the committee information section that we received, whatever it was, a week or so ago. And it's the timeframes for approval responses from DCP concerning the Connecticut Lottery's revenue generating activities that they've been removed. I just have difficulty with removing deadlines. I think we all in our lives and our jobs in the legislature always have hard deadlines for whatever it may be. And I just am concerned that in the future that this could be a problem if we're removing deadlines for anything. I don't want things to fall by the wayside and to end up being a problem with any issues we have with the Connecticut Lottery.
Yeah, we're as I said, we're happy to look at putting those back in. We do want to get these things updated. They are probably more than 20 years overdue of being updated. So to get a clean slate and have a more modern set of regulations in place as gaming expands, so that we're building off of a good foundation, but we can look to put those back in. There are certainly, ways, CLC certainly has ways to prompt us if we're dragging our feet, but as I said, it's just not something we do. We don't have those deadlines in any single other area where we have to do licenses or approvals. And, we always work hard to do our job, but we can put them back in so everybody feels comfortable.
and you just mentioned that there's no deadlines in anything else, but they were there to begin with, and now you're taking them out. So there must have been a reason why you wanted to take them out.
It was mostly just, we generally, as a process, don't regulate ourselves in that way. But just as they could go and force us to comply with our regulations, they can there's also ways they can force us to speed up if we're doing damage to the state and state revenues. But so they weren't taken out because we have some nefarious goal of being really slow and messing around with CLC. And so we can put them back in.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And I do apologize. I can't see if you're putting the hand raise feature. So if you just actually wave your hand, yeah, Representative Carpino. I know Representative Retigliano had sent me a text, so I apologize, Representative Carpino, if you wouldn't mind going after Representative Retigliano. So thank you, and my apologies.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Unfortunately, I sent you a text because I have the dual laptops today, and this one doesn't even have the raise hand feature. It's so old. But I read through the regulations yesterday. I talked to the department yesterday, and I have to freely admit that I had some concerns about the elimination of the deadline also. But I did want to say publicly that I think it's important that people have confidence in the lottery, especially going forward, that it's run well and managed well, because it is a quasi-public agency. It is sort of owned by the people of Connecticut. So I think the regulations of the lottery are good, especially with the possibility of online gambling and other things sports betting that they may be involved in. But while we have the commissioner here and the department here, if they could just commit publicly to sort of giving them as a business some sort of commitment that they will revisit the date certain about when they would look at the approval of a new game. I'm not even saying I know what that date may be. 7 days, quite frankly, when I read it, seems a little short to me, but maybe there's a date in there. So I will support the passage of the regulations as long as they commit to at least revisiting that. And Representative Clarice Dietrich did sort of ask the question, but I figured we'll get a public commitment that you'll fix that aspect of it, and then I'll be more comfortable.
All right, we will look at it. We appreciate that there is an interest in having that in there, and yes, we will do that. So this is being recorded, so I can't take it back.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Retigliano. And thank you, Commissioner Siegel. I apologize. Did I cut you off, Representative Retigliano? Do you have any further questions or comments?
No, thank you, Senator. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And Representative Carpino, again, I apologize that I hadn't seen your hand raised.
Mr. Chairman, there is no apology needed. We're doing quite well considering the Zoom environment we're in. Commissioner, I appreciate you and your staff being here, and I appreciate you making yourselves available to me over the last few days. My concerns are similar to the others, but I've had these concerns for 2 years. So these are not new to the agency, the removing of deadlines. Government has deadlines for a reason, and their checks and balances. Even our Superior Court judges have deadlines to issue their opinions. So I worry about the trust the public has, particularly when it comes to quasi-publics and as regulators. DCP has a large part to play here. So as much as I take you at your word, there are no guarantees that you or I will be here in the future. So I can't support these regs today. The agency knew that this was at issue 2 years ago. And unfortunately, I don't think we're doing the public any service by removing an obligation of the agency to make timely decisions. We're also talking about lottery agents who are potentially small business owners in the state. And I think with all of the quasi-publics that have hit the news over the last few years, and not all DCP issues, ma'am, by any stretch of the imagination, but I think we have an obligation to make sure that we do all we can to build the trust with the public. So simply because of the elimination of the deadlines with DCP needing to make a decision, I can't support you today. But I wanted to thank you for you and your staff giving me your time over the last few days. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Carpino, and also thank you for your diligence in the process. I know you're always thoughtful and had a lot of value to our discussions. So thank you. Are there any other further comments? Please actually physically raise your hand since I can't see the yellow hand on there. Senator Bider.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the second time. Is there anyone here from the Lottery Corp?
No,
No, I don't believe so.
I do not believe so.
So let me say also, I find that a little disconcerting. The late memo I didn't find to be helpful. No other evidence of communication I didn't find to be helpful. I think it's important, as Representative Retigliano stated, that consumers have confidence in the Lottery Corp and confidence in our process. I am troubled by the fact that dates have been removed. I feel pretty strongly about that, even though I do understand the commissioner's commitment to look at putting them back. And I think she may have even gone far enough to say that they would be put back. But these regs are going to exist in their current form for a period of time until they do go back. And it is a long process. It doesn't just involve this committee. I guess for today, my vote is going to be no. I would like to be sure that the vote's done by roll call. I'd like to think this won't all come back to haunt us. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I am troubled that CLC was not here, at least to fill in that piece of the puzzle, because I think it would have given us an opportunity to try and fill in the last year and a half in terms of what back and forth there may have been beyond that last meeting that was held to try and figure out what agreement could be had with regard to the last legal opinion before this committee. So again, thank you for Commissioner and your staff for being here. And my questions have all been answered. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Minor. And I do apologize, I guess, for my part of not thinking to invite the Lottery Corporation to come be part of this meeting. So are there any, Representative Godfrey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A question. I think that are the existing deadlines like calendar days or business days? I'm refresh my memory, please.
It's really, I know there's a lot of talk as though there's like all these deadlines. It's one, it's related to game approval. It was, I believe business days. I would have to,
Okay.
I would have to look back, and it's approving, a new game. So again, we commit again, we can put something back in there, but certainly if we're holding them up on a new game, they're going to go to the governor's office, and who's going to tell us, you got to move this along. You can't sit there holding this up. But this is not like we're not like removing all sorts of deadlines for when we're going to like get somebody a license or do any of this other stuff. It was really this one.
Oh, thank you. That clears things. I mean, we're talking about deadlines, and the CLC didn't bother to send their letter until yesterday. I mean, this meeting has been set up for some time, and this reg's been kicking around for 2 years. So I'm kind of wondering about keeping deadlines, even our own. So and I know that the likelihood of really putting something on your plate this year, dealing with sports gaming and all of those issues that will include the Lottery Corporation, that's going to be a big job. And this has been kicking around long enough, in my humble opinion. So I hope we can take care of this today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative Godfrey. Are there any other questions or discussion? Just for my own edification, we are looking at making, I think, significant changes to the gaming. How long approximately will that regulation process take? And obviously we can't hold you to that because we don't know what's been approved yet by the legislature, but.
Yeah, it's a little hard to know. You know, we've started to see some early drafts of language of a bill, which would put a lot into regulations. So it's going to ultimately depend on how much needs to be in regulations as opposed to how much is in statute, what sort of resources are made available to DCP to focus on all that drafting. So it would be premature, and I don't want to put out a deadline that suddenly, even if you can't hold it to me, it's going to be in people's head, and now it becomes the default assumption people have, and it's a little, yeah.
We need to look at the statute to make sure you have the appropriate resources and is okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Okay, there was a request. Seeing no other discussion, we did have a request that the vote be taken by roll. So I would just ask everyone, when you cast your vote, state your name and your vote, and make sure that your camera is on. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
A roll call vote on Regulation 2019-16A from the Department of Consumer Protection, Lottery Operations. The motion is to approve in whole with technical corrections. Senator Maroney.
Senator Maroney votes yes.
Representative Claritas Detria.
Representative Claritas Detria votes no.
Senator Kissel is absent. Representative DeMassa.
Mute. He's on mute.
Oh, hang on.
Representative Massa votes yes.
Representative Arnone.
Rep.
Hang on. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. Representative Arnone votes yes.
Representative Carpino.
Representative Carpino votes no.
Representative Godfrey.
Representative Godfrey votes yes.
Senator Hartley.
Senator Hartley votes yes.
Senator Kelly. We'll go back to Senator Kelly. Representative McGorty.
Representative McGorty votes no.
Senator Minor.
Senator Minor votes no.
Senator Kelly.
Senator Kelly votes no.
Senator Austin.
Senator Austin votes in the affirmative.
Representative Retigliano.
Retigliano votes yes.
Representative Welander.
Representative Welander votes yes.
So the total roll is 8 voting yay, 5 voting nay, and 1 absent. So the motion passes.
Thank you. I believe that concludes our business for the day. Madam Clerk, would you mind announcing the date of our next meeting? And obviously the time may change depending on who's in session that day.
So our next meeting will be Tuesday, April 27th. And again, typically, yes, 11 o'clock, and then that'll likely change, I assume, but it'll be Tuesday, the 27th.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Do I have
You got
a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.